Hello, Miami. It is Wednesday, April 10th, 2019, and this is Nothing's Going On, episode 7.
All right.
I am your host, Rafa, and I'm here with the wonderful panel of one with Mr. Artemis Handler.
Thank you.
All right, Artie, I'm stressed out with the situation with the show. I've got some stuff. I do have one little thing that happened to me recently that I didn't think was so common in Miami. Okay, so
This will be good.
what is the deal? And this sounds so dickheaded a little bit, but what is the deal with these? Sound like Seinfeld. People who acquaintances, okay, who when they say hi to you, they give you a hug. Okay, I get it. It's kind of, it's a sign of, like, I guess, trying to be affectionate, but they're not. I mean, I've barely had a conversation with you. You're trying to give me a hug.
It's very Miami.
Is it? No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
That's very, like, up north where people give hugs and crap.
Maybe California. The whole kiss on the cheek thing, I'm not Latin. And in Miami, everybody, you meet somebody, oh, hey, how you doing? And you kiss on the cheeks, right?
Right, that's what we do. We
Right.
either do that or a handshake.
Well, my nephew goes to Georgia, and he's at a party, and they're introducing him to some chicks. The kid's like 19 or 20. He goes over, he hugs the girl, and he goes to give her a kiss, and she leans back. She's like, what the hell are you doing?
No, of course.
And he's like, I was going to just, I don't know, saying hello. And they had to explain to the chick, no, this is how they do it in Miami. I don't know. They must have a view like we're pervs or something.
No, they do get put off by that stuff, and that's why they give hugs, because it's like their way of kind of, I don't know, something. But when it happens to me in Miami, it happened to me twice the other day. These are good people. I like these people. But it just feels like half-hearted when they're giving you a hug. The kiss doesn't mean anything, and you know it. It just means hello. Boom. But the hug... Why are you going in for the hug? We didn't just have a moment. We didn't just do a thing. We're not, I don't know. It sounds so dickheaded, and like if the people who hugged me were listening, I would feel bad for saying it, but they're not. And it's like a half-hearted hug. It's kind of like,
it's a new fad, like the beards. Everybody's got a beard now. Honestly, none of my acquaintances come up and hug me. Here and there, actually, that's actually funny. You should say that. There's a buddy of mine way down south in the Ridge, who's very touchy-feely, very huggy, and I wonder, I'm going to go off on a tangent here,
okay,
which I'm known to do.
It's fine today. It's fine.
So I ride to work a lot with a guy from Jersey, Slim. And he's always talking about when he sees a guy on a loud motorcycle or with, bling, or he's got the lifted truck especially, he says, that's a guy whose dad didn't hug him enough. So my boys, when we commute, started saying, you need some hugs. And then it's one time I come home from work and I'm yelling at the kids. And they're like, Dad, you need some hugs. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll take it. But that's family. But my point is,
that's what I'm saying. And this might be your friend. If it's a friend, I'll hug you.
There's a lot of people out there who need some hugs.
But
man.
I've had, at least I've had a 20-minute conversation with you, hugging a guy who I've had maybe a little more. Maybe I'm over-representing how little we know each other. We actually might know each other a little better. I don't know. It caught me off guard, and it was just.
But I would say
it just felt a little bit like fake, so I didn't like it.
I don't know. Isn't this a little bit of the women's world here? How many guys are crushing and mashing on chicks, and trying to cop a feel and get physical, and it's unwanted. I don't know.
I don't think it's that.
No. All right. I'm just saying. Hey, I don't want a hug. Don't hug me.
What about you? Didn't you go to the youth fair?
I did.
I actually have a couple things. You did a lot of Miami stuff, I think, that I need to ask about.
I did some great Miami stuff, actually, since we last spoke. I missed the last show. I would have loved to have been here, but I had to go to the youth fair. I was doing research for the show, on carnies. And I was going to say, if you don't already hate Miami and are disgusted with Miami, go to the youth fair. Go to the youth fair. When I was a kid, it was a hell of a lot of fun, and I never understood why the adults hated it. Now I know. I drag my kids there, and they love it. They want to go on every ride, and I actually now like going and seeing the kids' exhibits, the stuff where they build the rockets, the popsicle houses, the drawings, the robots. There's circuitry that these kids are like wiring switches and light bulbs. It's killer. Building fishing poles. I'm like, wow. My kids are like, Dad, enough of this already. Let's go and let's eat garbage food and ride rides till we puke. My sons wind up taking the log flume ride on a cold night, getting soaked, coming home and getting sick. But back to my point, whatever that was. If you don't already,
what's so detestable about it? What's so?
I would like to say everything, but it's not everything. The truth of the matter is, you see a cross section of the community that you live in, and I think especially those of us on this show who hang out in, we'd like to say, the more cultured aspects of Miami. In the more cultured vein, and we do the cool stuff. Ain't that right?
I suppose, but I wouldn't put it that way. But yeah.
So,
sure.
Well, you go to the youth fair, you're hanging out with a lot of Miami that's in traffic with you, but you never really see and meet. There's a lot of morbidly obese people. There's a lot of horrible parenting. There's a lot of just like
bratty kids.
Oh, and it's not the kids' fault. Everywhere I go, these parents are stuffing cotton candy as a meal in these kids' faces, and the kids are chomping it down like that's their dinner. And then the parents are like smacking them, for being wild. I can't tell you. I'm walking with my kids everywhere, and I don't hit my kids. They probably need it, but I don't. I'm walking around with my kids, and like every 15 minutes, I'm seeing a parent smack the hell out of their kids. I'm thinking, man, that's gotta suck, and it's embarrassing and it's cringing for me. And then I see the parents, they're I don't know, they're covered in neck tats and finger tats, and they're drinking and feeding the kids at 9:00 at night cotton candy. And I'm thinking, what kind of parenting is this?
It's old-fashioned parenting.
Jesus, old-fashioned, man.
That's the way they used to do it. But not to go too far on this, but I think with the hitting the kids, it's more detrimental if the kid thinks that it's feels that it's
their fault.
No, not their fault. Like out of the ordinary that it's bad. So if they've been raised to think that parents shouldn't hit kids, then a hit is much more traumatic than the kids who just get slapped around a little more.
Oh, it's currency for me with my boys because I don't hit them. All I got to do is turn around and say, take off a belt. They're like, whoa, Dad, let's not get crazy here.
Okay, wait. Before, I don't want to talk about child psychology, but
let's talk about beating kids.
What about the rides? Some kids need it. And you know what sucks? When I've had this happen to me where kids talk back to you and you want to hit them. Back in the day, I'm sure of it. If it was 1980 and some little punk kid says something, I could smack him in the back of the head. But you can't do that anymore.
Oh, no.
Especially not when it's not your kid.
You can't touch kids, and you can't touch other people's kids. And me as a dad, I've learned the hard way, you can't parent other people's kids.
Yeah.
Which I'm prone to do. In a social situation or at a party, or out on the street or at the soccer game, another kid acts up. I'm like, hey, man, you can't do that. What the hell are you thinking? You're going to be talking with an irate parent,
Yeah, that's pathetic. If it was my kids, I would let you parent them, no problem. I'd let everybody parent them.
There you go.
But anyway, talk to me about the rides. Anything good there or no? Does the metal still have that kind of metal smell that's really...
You know what the place smells like? Cooking oil. And the fried everything.
Like the elephant ears and all that crap.
Oh, don't get me started on the elephant ears. My old lady will kill me. Or the funnel cakes. I gave her a dirty look for feeding the boys funnel cakes, and I'm still hearing about it. I was like, can't we feed them anything good here? But there's nothing good to feed your kids.
Yeah, of course.
I had it fair.
A corn dog or something.
When I was young, my dad would drag us around, and we were having a blast. My dad was a big fan of the Polish sausages.
Oh, yeah.
Those huge foot-long heart stoppers.
Kielbasa things that they got
with
there.
Onions and peppers. Oh, and then as a young guy, I started liking those. Man, I wouldn't touch those now. The last time I was at the fair, like about 4 years ago, I ate one. I almost had a heart attack. It was terrible.
Will you eat a hot dog from like a street hot dog cart, like in downtown?
I used to, actually. I used to work in downtown, and that was my lunch because it was cheap.
Yeah.
But no, not
I'll eat
so.
one of those. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And they look all right.
If it's Hebrew National, of course, I'll do it because it's to a higher standard. But no, not so much. And then in New York, when I'm in New York, and especially like Manhattan, taking the kids to Central Park, yeah, we stop. We get the hot dogs, the big pretzels.
Those guys are licensed, not like the guys here.
Yeah, they had to take the knishes off the street. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, some years ago. You ever had a knish?
No.
Oh my God, a knish is top of the line. That's classic New York, man. And so my mom is an epidemiologist, and she used to work with the state health department of New York. And then we're visiting her one time. I come back, I'm like, man, I can't find a knish anywhere. She says, oh, they took them off the street. Don't you know? I said, why was that? She said, well, because there's some egg in the batter. And there's some egg in the cooking. And if the guy doesn't sell it, he takes it off the heat and puts it in the cooler overnight. And then he heats it back up the next day. And that thing might be a week.
Yeah.
If or more. And then you're cooling, heating, and the thing is not doing any good. People were getting sick, so they took them off the street. It's unfortunate.
What a shame.
With a knish with a little bit of mustard, top of the line, man.
So last question about the youth fair. Did you ride anything? Did you ride any of the rides? A Gravitron or one of these, a Zipper or something?
Gravitron. When I was a kid, I hurled all over the place. Don't you know the Gravitron broke loose one time and killed some people?
No, I never heard that.
Yeah, it's an urban legend. Many years ago.
I remember the carnies that could stand in the Gravitron.
Oh,
they were like pros, and they would stand on the wall while you're there, like totally sucked back.
Before the
These
Gravitron.
guys are walking around eating a Kit Kat bar.
Back in the old days, before the Gravitron, they had it was called the Black Hole.
Okay.
And the thing spun. It was a big circle, like a cylinder. And as it was spinning, the floor would lower. And all of a sudden, you're stuck against the wall. And I'll never forget, I went on with my brother, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs, "Stop the ride!" I've never been good with getting dizzy. And they, of course, wouldn't stop the ride.
Of course not.
They're smoking a joint, laughing about the whole thing. The carny folk they're an interesting group. Man.
Yeah.
That's a documentary waiting to be documented or whatever they call it. Especially the carnival barkers. The guys, hey, get over here, shoot the balloon and win a stuffed animal. The favorite, of course, is the guy who gets dunked in the water, the clown, and they insults people. It's excellent. I loved it. And there's even have a sign that says, please don't take insults personally. This is all part of the show.
Nice.
Excellent. Watching the guy, you can't throw that ball. I've seen girls. I'll tell you a funny anecdote. So they have these games where, like all those carnival games. One is you throw a baseball at beer bottles and you bust them.
Yeah.
It's $5 for 2 throws.
Okay.
If you give them $10, you get 6 throws. You get 3 games. A game is 2 balls. So my young son's like, Dad, I think I can do it. And I said, I don't think you can do it. He's like, Dad, I think I can do it. And the whole time we're debating this, we're watching a father dump about $25, doesn't break 1 bottle. And so finally my son's like, and my boys, they work for a little bit of money. They got their own cash. He's like, Dad, I'll pay you back when we get home. I was like, all right, here you go. Here's $5. The guy says, hey, if you pay 10, you get 3 games. My boy looks at me. He's like, let's do it, Dad. It's like triple or nothing. I'm like, oh, God, I got a gambler coming here. Boy lays down and busts bottles like left and right. Next to fathers who couldn't hit 1. Little boy is aiming, slowly concentrating. Bam, busting bottles. Busts 3 bottles in 3 games. But he doesn't bust them consecutively, so they don't give it to him. They're like, hey, Dad, 10 more bucks, 3 more games. And the little boy's like, Dad, come on, Dad, come on. Oh, I was like, I had to shut him down. Hey, there's a phone number for that, boy.
So wait, so they scam you on that too? So even
you
after
got to get him consecutively.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's totally. And he got him like 1 break, 1 miss, 1 break, 1 miss,
yeah.
1 break, 1 miss. And people were turning around and staring at him because here's this like 4-foot kid smashing the bottles. I think he just liked to smash them.
Of course, but it's nice to be validated by the prize
like,
too,
And it was right after I told him, boy, I don't think you're going to hit anything. Mm-hmm. Boom, he smashes. I was like, oh, man. Not only am I wrong, and he's winning, it's costing me money. It was a fun time.
Very cool.
Fun time.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you about the big events around town, did you go to Ultra? Did you do anything with Ultra in the end?
I am Ultra. Yes, I did, actually. I get hired I work the boat show, and I do the harbor control.
Yeah.
And I run a boat, and we basically are like the doorman at a club, and we keep out the unwanteds, and we let in the wanteds, and we maintain traffic control.
Okay.
I work with the Marine Patrol, some great guys, really cool guys. And we work with the boat show guys. And this time the Ultras said, hey, we're going to be at Virginia Key. We're letting in some boats, bringing in VIPs and artists. And I met a bunch. It was a wild time. Paris Hilton, Shaq came in. I think everybody in the EDM circuit is British. Am I wrong about this?
A lot of them are, yeah.
And I met some DJ named Spore, and I thought he said sport. So when I radioed for his VIP boat, I said, I got sport here. And he goes, no, it's Spore. At the end of the night, he shook my hand. He says, my name's John. And I was like, John Spore? He's like, yeah, they're close enough. But, so same kind of deal.
So did you see any of the shit show that happened down there, or you weren't there for that?
No, I was in the water, and I'll tell you what happened. Truth be told. It's not the organizers. It's not even the logistics people, in my opinion. It's the attendees. They're drugged out. They're whacked out for 12 hours in a row dancing, because we start at 1.
Yeah.
I start at 1 and I quit at 4 in the morning, or at 3:30.
Oh, damn. Okay, so you were there the whole time.
You know, have you ever worked a day for 7 hours? It's 8 o'clock at night, and you got an 8-hour shift that you're just starting. That was tough, man. That was real tough. And you're dealing with people who are just whacked out of their minds. They don't speak human. They don't. They can't see. The cops are flashing lights in their hand. Hey, step away from the edge of the dock. We pulled a kid out of the water. Kid. I mean, I'm over 44, and this guy was. I say he was a kid. He was probably pushing 30. And all of a sudden, we get the call that there's a guy in the water at the show.
Yeah.
And we go over to help out and assist, and I'm in a little boat, a shallow draft boat, and the cops come up, and I'm buddies with all of them, and they're all like, Benny, our boats are too big to get in that water where that guy is, but he's in over his head. So I go towards him with the little boat called the Purple Haze. It's a purple boat. And I start rolling up, and I start thinking to myself, you never go and approach a drowning guy by yourself, because they'll pull you under, especially if he's strong, he's whacked out on drugs. You've got to. You can't just reach your arm out and say, "Hey, buddy, let me help you," because he'll yank you under. Next thing you know, you're under. There's a boat floating by itself. So one of the water taxi guys jumps on the boat with me, and we go up to this kid who looked like he was dancing in water over his head. I swear to God, he had barely his nose and eyes above the water, and I swear to you, it looked like he was still dancing. And what we realized is these guys, the smarter ones, at the Ultra show, alcohol sales are minimal. The number one sale is water.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that they're on makes them hot and makes them dehydrated, and they're dancing all day in the sun. So the smarter ones come in with the biker backpack.
Yeah.
They call the camel or something.
Yeah, the camelback.
Exactly. So this guy had his camelback on, weighing him down, and he's in water over his head. And it seemed to me that he didn't know how to swim. Now, growing up in South Florida, it's rare for me to see somebody who doesn't know how to swim. But what I learned about this show is a ton of people.
They're from out of town. Tons of people from out of town.
Korea, Israel, UK, California.
Yeah, from all over the place.
Yeah.
So for the listeners who don't know, let me summarize some of the things. You can comment on them as they happen. So Ultra happened in Virginia Key this year. They got kicked out of downtown because of the noise. And then, so Virginia Key's kind of far from transportation, and the first day everything went smoothly in terms of traffic and stuff like that. But then at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning when the concert got out, Ultra had 200 buses for, I don't know, 80,000 people, 65,000 people, something like that. And they didn't even have like a line to kind of queue people up for these buses. It was just a shit show, and then people just started walking towards Miami over the causeway in the middle of the street and whatever. There wasn't any traffic at that time, so it didn't really matter. But it was a newsworthy item, and then people complained, blah blah blah. I mean, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but
may I interject?
Yeah, sure.
Working for the show, no, there was a plan. There was lines. There was aisles for people to load buses. There was 255-person buses running nonstop, lined up, ready to start. What happens is 60,000 people try and leave at once. On the water side, we moved over 4,000 people in an hour and a half. The water taxi operation run by these guys.
Yeah, was
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was super efficient because that's what they do year round. The bus side at Boat Show, they move the same amount of people. What happens is everybody's trying to leave at once.
Yeah.
They're all messed up and they don't want to wait in line. And what happened is they pushed the fences down and they all started walking on MacArthur Causeway, not single file.
Rickenbacker.
Excuse me, Rickenbacker. Not single file on the sidewalk, out in the lanes.
Yeah.
When City of Miami saw that, they shut down the causeway for these people's safeties. When they shut down the causeway, the buses couldn't leave. So the people who were waiting in line and the people who were waiting on full buses couldn't go. If the attendees had just waited, and done what they were supposed to do, what I see in the future is we're going to move more people by water. Because the water operation moved probably 3-to-1 to 4-to-1 of the land.
Yeah.
But the problem, so I'm going to tell you this. So I work and I tie up the boat at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30. I take a ride on a boat back to Bayside where I park, and I head home. Oh, I have to go through downtown. AAA Arena, over by the corner, there's zombies everywhere. There was a 3-mile-long conga line of zombies moving across Rickenbacker. And I got to where 95 meets US 1, and there was probably 300 of them with flashing blue lights everywhere, just all walking in a zone with their phones on trying to find an Uber because Uber was not allowed to Virginia Key. So I started heading south on US 1. There they are at 22nd, 17th, 27th Avenue. They're all the way to Lejeune walking.
No way.
Man, that's like 7 miles.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, that's okay, enough of this. I'm going to turn on Bird Road and head home. I live in Kendall.
Mm-hmm.
They were in front of the Coral Gables Senior High School, man. That's some strong stuff.
That is, so imagine that. You get out of a concert, and I mean, it's normal in a lot of festivals to have to walk, but that's a lot of walking, man. It's not 1 or 2 miles.
We had a lot of funny
5
episodes.
or 6.
There was one of the last nights.
At 2 in the morning.
There was some, so we worked where the VIPs can come by yachts, and there's some really heavy-duty, big yachts coming in with some big VIPs, and some really wealthy people come there. The minimum for a VIP table is $10,000 a night. Take a guess what the maximum is for the best VIP table per night is. $350,000.
Are you kidding me?
No, sir.
And people pay it?
People pay them. They're booked.
That is insane.
It is insane. And so these type of peoples are coming and going by these yachts, and we're trying to monitor the traffic. So at the end of one of the nights, we get a report. There's a swimmer. It happens every year. They get so worked up. They're like, I need to bond with nature, or I'm too hot.
Yeah.
I need to jump in the water. And so out in the middle of the bay, people jump off the water taxis or off these yachts or something. And we work with the cops, and all of a sudden the call comes in over our radio. We got a swimmer out in the middle of the bay, in the middle of the channel where all this boat traffic is happening. So they come up on the guy. They throw him a life ring, and they're like, hey, let's help you out. And he swings on the guys trying to rescue him.
No.
So we say, everybody back off. Let the Marine Patrol take this guy. Marine Patrol goes over him, and they fixed him up. They sent him the right way.
Dude, people are ridiculous, man. But I guess when you get that many people, you're gonna have some kind of an incident. All right, well, that's enough on Ultra. It is Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. This is Nothing's Going On in Miami, Episode 7. I'm your host, Rafa, and I'm here with Artie. Slim Pickens panel today, but that's all right. Same thing happened last week, but we'll get our things back together soon. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Go check out our Instagrams and our whatevers, social medias, and subscribe on your podcast app. Nothing's Going On. Okay, let me tell you something that's kind of handy that just came out, I think, like 2 days ago. If you go to bridgeforecast.com.
Never heard of it.
It just came out. They are forecasting the downtown bridges. So if you are in your car and you're thinking about going into trying to cross, the Brickell Bridge or the 2nd Ave Bridge, or one of these, you quickly check bridgeforecast.com.
While you're driving.
Yeah, because we're allowed to do that here in Florida. So, yes, you do it while you're driving or at a stoplight or whatever. Maybe you're walking and you want to know if the bridge is up.
I tried texting on my way here tonight, and I just want to apologize to those people.
And it tells you if the bridge is up, and it tries to predict. They watch the cameras, and they see if there's a boat object in the camera field coming, or try to see it coming, and they try to predict, it's going to go up in about 10 minutes or whatever. So if you're somebody, I had a friend who has to drive around there pretty often. He was like, man, I wish there was something that would tell me when the bridges were going to go up and down, some kind of way to predict it. Well, somebody's doing it. Bridge, what is it? Wait.
Well, there's rules.
Sorry. Bridgeforecast.com. Check that out. It's pretty cool.
There's rules.
It looks good, too.
When you're approaching a bridge from the water, there's 2 channels you can call, Channel 16 or Channel 9 on the VHF, and you can talk directly to the bridge operator, and you can request an opening, like Venetian Causeway. We say there's 2 Venetian Causeway bridges. We call them Venetian East or Venetian West. Venetian East, this is the motor vessel blue chip. We're requesting a northbound opening, and they'll tell you, we just opened, you're going to have to wait.
Of course.
During the morning rush hours, you are not allowed to request an opening. There's scheduled openings.
Yeah.
And it's like every half hour, I want to say, and they open them up. And if you're a vessel, you got to wait.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is, if you're a big enough vessel, and this happens in the maritime all the time, if you've got some sort of issue where you can't control your boat, your gear is stuck, your steering is out, you're not under control, because
then they're going to open it for you.
they're going to fine you up the waz.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's posted. It says if you demand an opening because you can't stop and you're going to hit the bridge, they're going to open it for you. They're going to get your FL numbers, which is like your license plate for the boat, and they're going to fine the hell out of you.
So it's funny that you mentioned the Venetian, because at the same time that I found this bridge report doesn't do the bridge forecast. Sorry, it doesn't do Venetian at this time, but Miami-Dade is requesting to the Coast Guard that the Venetian only open once an hour instead of once every half hour, and that they block all openings during rush hour. So I think it was like from 7 to 10 in the morning and from 4 to 7 in the afternoon.
That's going to be
something, if you're a boater, which I doubt many are, but you are, so it's good for you.
Well, it's going to be difficult for Venetian East. I mean, it'll be easy for Venetian East, because Venetian East is on the east side of the bay, and that's more pleasure craft going through there, whereas Venetian West is the intercoastal, and that's where
people are.
That's like the US 1 for boats.
Yeah.
Honestly, the intercoastal goes from Key West up to Maine. And
there's a lot of traffic.
There's a lot of traffic. Some of it's commercial, a lot of it's pleasure craft. Venetian East is mainly pleasure craft, and it's usually busted.
Nice.
Hey, you learned something.
Yeah. So check out that bridge forecast. I think it's pretty handy. I mean, I haven't had to use it yet because I only found out about it today, but at least somebody's doing something. All right. Did you hear? Maybe you didn't even hear about this, but I can tell you now that it's not happening. They were going to bring an F1 race to downtown, and they were really hyping it up, and they were doing these. They brought there's like videos on YouTube of F1.
Like Grand Prix?
Yeah, Grand Prix.
We used to have it.
I know, and this would have been the top. Before it was those other, it was a kind of Le Mans type of car. This would be Formula One open wheel racing in downtown. They even brought one of these cars, and they filmed all these promo videos, and they were doing these kind of they did some events where they were kind of hyping it up, I guess, for, trying to build some momentum and stuff like that. Well, I think it was the City of Miami Commission decided to put no. Yeah, to give it not really a no, but we got to put this on the back burner right now. I don't know if Ultra had anything to do with it, but it was basically, we got too many NIMBYs.
Well, I was going to say,
got too many
because
NIMBYs.
we love stuff like this down here. Anything to promote the city.
But the neighbors don't like it.
Listen, we're building so many condos everywhere. You're going to have somebody pissed off about something in every square inch of this county. You know, we got to get over that. You know, we're trying to be a world-class city. You got to have races. You got to have concerts. You got to have music events. You got to have these things.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I would have loved F1 in downtown. Okay, I mean, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
when I was a kid, we had Miami Grand Prix.
Yeah, cars going.
They would shut down part of Biscayne Boulevard, and the guys were Grand Prix.
You should have seen what the track looked like too. It kind of goes down Biscayne and then onto the 395. Yeah, onto the MacArthur, and then they do a loop back around at the kind of like at the
Watson Island.
Yeah, exactly, at Watson Island, and then come back, and there's some turns and stuff. But there's enough places to go really fast, and then some decent turns. It wasn't perfect, like a great
Watson Island got a lot of turns, and for those of us who've been here long enough, that used to be the helicopter.
where you do the helicopter tours and stuff like that. Yeah,
man.
So that's funny because the one time I had a cousin who came here, a cousin-in-law, and he came from Europe, and he was all excited about being in Miami, and he wanted to live his Miami dreams for the weekend, you know, the stuff they saw him on TV. So he goes and he rents a Ferrari for 6 hours or whatever.
Nice.
And where I took him was Watson Island. I was like, here, we could probably take it up pretty fast, not like 150 or something, but we can go really fast, and then there's a great turn under the bridge that'll let us, you know, slow down really fast and then take this hairpin turn.
Nice.
And we did that like over and over and over because it could have driven down the highway in a straight line at 200, but what's the point? You know, that's not fun.
Back in the day, before the big art museum and the science museum at that museum park, before they completely developed that thing, it was Bicentennial Park.
Yeah, it was Bicentennial Park.
Bicentennial Park,
where they had the racing.
Right, and they had these long straightaways and turns and stuff. We used to marshal the trucks for the boat show there. And it was constantly full of people bringing their homegrown hot rods, teaching their girlfriends to drive stick, you know, and manual shift, and going around. And it was cool, man. And it was inhabited by nobody but homeless, and you could really kind of do what you wanted all hours of the day in that park. Now, you know, you try and...
now there's a museum there. And
now
a bunch
you try
of
and light up a
sculptures.
smoke, you know, on the grass, and you're done.
So there's this great video on YouTube of two Miami racing legends. One's more famous than the other, but they're still legends. Emerson Fittipaldi.
Fittipaldi used to, I went to school with his daughter, man.
Yeah, so Emerson Fittipaldi and Raul Boesel, both racers back in those days, and they get in a fight right on the track there in Bicentennial Park. Look it up. Emerson Fittipaldi, Raul Boesel. Just something I just got reminded of when you were talking about the Bicentennial.
Sounds cooler, I bet, than I think it really was, because, you know, boxers getting in a fight on the street, well, you're going to expect something. But guys who race cars, they're probably not the most physical dudes. They look. It's going to be like a high school girl slap fest, I would think. No, it was some real blows thrown.
No, it wasn't. It was exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that. It was just like a little, you know.
You ever see the shoes those dudes wear? There's like special racing shoes. Come on, they're like ballet shoes.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of that. It was a bit of a hissy fit, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Come on.
That's funny. That's funny that you would say that because that's exactly what it was.
Hey, I've been around a few hissies, man.
Bad Boys 3 is filming around town.
I heard. Are they bringing back the same dudes?
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have been spotted around Miami. I haven't seen them, but a buddy of mine sent me a picture.
What's old is new, man.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of redoing movies a million times. Those movies are kind of fun. But I don't know. If you see them around or if traffic is held up, it's probably them doing something around town.
I don't give you fuck.
I remember the first one. I liked the first movie.
Man, that guy's everywhere.
I didn't really like the second movie. And so
I'm proud to say I didn't see any of them. I mean, I'm glad for Miami. You know, we should have a budding film industry. We're Miami. There's nowhere else in the States. I know there's nothing going on here. Somebody should make a show like that. But there's nowhere else like Miami, you know? My dad is a big Miami fan. And I never understood why. He came from real towns, and he was in the service. He was in big towns. And, you know, when I was growing up, I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of this town. It's either rednecks or fishing or Cubans, who I love all of them. And he's like, where else are you going to live, Benny? Artie. And
well, everybody has a conflict with their home.
he's like, where else are you going to go? And honestly, for many years, I had a super conflict with Miami, man. I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the traffic. I'm tired of, like, a-holes everywhere and bad attitudes. Did you know customer service, like, just there's a void here?
Oh, no.
Like,
the people who have only stayed here for forever don't know that that's not how it is everywhere.
Dude, you go out of town. I'll never forget. I think I was in New York or something. Not even New York. We were somewhere else out in the Midwest. We get in an elevator. The guy walks in the elevator. He goes, "Hi, good morning." I'm like, oh, what the hell do you want, man? What do you mean? Somebody had to tell me, no, that's how normal people talk. I'm like, dude, in Miami, you walk in an elevator with somebody or waiting on.
No, but it says anything.
No, you look at him like you want to stab him, you know?
No, there's so many things. At restaurants and stuff, the service can be really bad compared to a lot of other places where they have better service, things like that. But let me ask you about the, because this is super common, the conflict with the place you grew up. I had it, I suppose, it was in, I guess, my early 20s. I was really like, man, Miami's got nothing for me. I got to get out of here. Miami's it sucks. I mean, one of the working names for this show, as somebody told me it was too negative, was
Miami sucks.
No, we should move to L.A.
Oh, no, I ain't going out there.
We should move to L.A.
I'll take about a hurricane over an earthquake any day.
A show about Miami. No, because a lot of people say that because nothing's happening here in town. We got to go to L.A. That's where things are happening. Or New York, whatever. That's where things are happening.
Get out of here, man.
And so,
but I had that for a while. I had that.
Me too.
Bad.
Yeah, it's bad, and you think that, man, this place has nothing for you, and then I guess you find something, or you.
Wow, I didn't think you and I were that much in common, but no, for real, I had a major identity Miami.
Yeah, like crisis. I'm not from this. This isn't me.
I'm sick of this.
Yeah,
the dysfunctionality. Everybody's late. There's no customer service. Traffic sucks. Everybody sucks. And then you go and I do a bunch of traveling. My old lady would say not enough. But we go out of town. You go to Colorado. You go New York a bunch. And you see different areas. And then you start to be like, yeah, ¿dónde está mi gente, brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's,
Then you notice that maybe
where's the cafecito?
Yeah.
Where's and speaking of La Colada, brother, I'm going to go off on a huge tangent. But La Colada doesn't exist anywhere else. And it's social currency. And I've been at hardware stores with the same kind of people that we would deride and say, you're the reason I want to get the hell out of this town. Somebody busts out a colada and says, oh, yeah, cafecito. Next thing you know, yeah, of course, brother. Having a little cafecito with somebody, you start up a little, smack talking, La Camaronera, downtown. There's a buddy of mine, he's a Midwesterner, a transplant, and he lived here, hated Miami forever. He was from Illinois or something, but he came here and he did well. Met a Cuban girl, married her. Man, there's a real spice magic here in this town.
Yeah.
That is kind of like learning to drink beer when you're a kid or learning to drink coffee. You hate it, and then you can't live without it, And he told me one time, he's like, I was visiting somewhere in the Midwest, and I got in an elevator, and somebody says, oh, you should talk to my buddy here, so-and-so. He's from Miami also. Somebody else piped up, Miami? Well, they ought to just give that back to Cuba, something like that. And he said, in that moment, all my hatred for Miami melted away, and I realized, would I want to live out here with these people? No. There's a sort of intolerance here. We can still kind of have our.
We're not uptight. We have, especially in the last 15 years, with the cultural things coming up. That's been a real. Plus for the city and for that condition, for dealing with that condition of I gotta fucking get out of here. This is not enough.
I don't think we love all cultures here.
Of course
but
not.
We certainly don't hate.
No.
I mean, you ever go? Our shop's in Little Haiti. We eat at Zuby Fish. Hang out with some Haitians at the Little River Hardware store. Go to Shell Lumber. Get some cordaditos on 8th Street and cafecitos. I mean, dude, there's a social currency here that you can learn to navigate as a resident of Miami, and really like learn to have friends in all sides.
Yeah,
and still hate people.
Yeah.
You don't have to,
but not with that passion hatred that you see in other places.
No, I mean like like California, like we all gotta love everybody, and then behind your back smack talk you, because a lot of West Coasters, and I don't mean Tampa, I mean like the far left coast.
Yeah.
That my interactions with those people have been like, oh yeah, namaste to your face, and we all got to get along, and I'm working on my spiritual, and you're out of the room, and they're screwing you.
And they're a little patronizing too, with their
totally,
thing.
man.
Especially towards because they don't deal with people of other cultures and stuff like that. I mean, they do, but I guess there's even more segregation there than here.
I don't know, brother. I got to be honest. I got a very tight, close buddy. Moved out to California, or not to California, God forbid, to Colorado, which is as far as you can go. He moved out there, got a better paying job. The guy's Peruvian. Hung out with me in Miami for 1 billion years. Spoke Spanish, worked with the crew, everybody, total Miami guy. Born in Peru, raised in Miami. Gets a job out there. Me and the old lady take the kids out, visit him, and the guy's not speaking Spanish anymore.
What?
And I'm like, well, ¿qué pasa, man, brother? We start hitting it up in Spanish, and it's so rusty. The guy's straight up Peruvian, He's like, nah, man, out here, nah, not so much, He's like, dude, the Latins out here, they're all Mexican. And he's like, not that that's a bad thing, but he's like, there's an underlying current that they don't mix. He's like, the Latins out here are your gardeners, and then they disappear. And they just don't mix. And I thought, man, how weird. Then we were at a playground with our kids. My old lady's from Chile, speaks only Spanish to our boys. My boys totally speak Spanish, understand it. They pretend they don't, but they do. And I'll speak to them when I'm pissed off at them. And we're in the playground, and we're speaking to them in Spanish, and this couple comes over to us and starts speaking to us in Spanish. And he's a Mexican guy. He's telling me how he moved out there. He's like, man, I can get you work out here, paying you $25 an hour, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah. And I realized nobody talks to this guy. At first, he was looking at us because we probably look like we don't fit in. And next thing I know, he's, no, he heard us speaking Spanish. It's a gateway, It's a key. Here in this city as well, And I realized out west, it's so much different. Here in South Florida, there's like,
the class divide, I guess, is bigger over there, especially because I guess the language divide is also a class divide, whereas here it's not really.
I have no Latin blood.
Yeah,
and I speak fluent Spanish. There's no one Latin in my family, but I learned it and I speak it fluently. And I always say, "Aprendí para conocer latinas," and I did pretty good.
Of course, you did.
And so that being said, there's a lot of people I know that speak both languages. Out there on the West Coast, it's not so much. There's not so much as they preach, tolerance. I think we live it here, whereas they preach it there. I don't know how to segue and move forward from that.
I got a great segue. I left my drinks over there, and I see you with a beer. Do you have an opener? I left that in the bag over there, too. Oh, you do? If I could have one, please, that'd be great. Oh, thank you. There's Corona here. It is Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. Very happy to be here on Jolt Radio. This is the Nothing's Going On in Miami show, episode 7. I'm your host, Rafa, and I am here only with Artie today, but it's all right because we got some good things to talk about. The next thing... Cheers. The next thing I'm going to talk about here, I have written down. You into poetry there, Artie?
I'm a poet, but I didn't know it.
Boo. Okay, so the O Miami Poetry Festival is happening right now. It's all month, the whole month of April. It's also National Poetry Month, I think. And they have events almost every day, if not every day. some of these events are rad, but I want to tell you about one little thing they do every year that is just a lot of fun. It's called Zip Odes. And so you take your zip code and so let's say your zip code's like 33131. Then it would be like three words, 1 word, 4 word, 3 words, 1 word, 3 words, 3 words, right? So, and they have this thing on WLRN where you can submit the...
they call them zip odes.
Yeah, like an ode to Miami.
Yeah.
But via these poems. So they posted some today of some. It's kind of a contest, and then they have an event where they read them. Well, they posted some today, and I'm going to read you some. This is from zip code 33183.
Where the hell is that?
I think it's in Kendall somewhere.
I'm 33173, and I'm in Kendall.
Okay, so
he's a poser.
This one's pretty good. This one I liked a lot. It's too far, far. West Kendall is too far to visit you. You come here.
It's cool. Nobody visits us in Kendall.
33. This one I'm not going to read because it's in Broward, and this show's about Miami. Sorry. 33133.
No, I'm with it, man. I don't know nothing about Broward or West Palm, and I don't want to know. And we do a ton of work there, and I get lost.
This is out of scope for this show. There's already too much stuff in this town to be going to other towns. 33133. I'm guessing that's around downtown. 33131 is Brickell. So
I thought 33133 was Miami Beach. No,
is it? It just says Miami-Dade for this one, so it must not be incorporated.
No, hit him.
By the Milums enfrente del Home Depot.
Oh, that's Coconut Grove.
María vende flores y manda abrazos.
Ah, I like that. Que bueno.
That is by the home. You're right. It's right at the Grove.
That's Grove, bro.
33181. Again, it just says Miami-Dade. I guess you could be looking them up while I say this.
I got an iPhone 4. I got to pull a crank on it to get it to run.
Fences divide trailers and townhouses here, pero like esa vaina de bacalao y bachata happen daily. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of bachata.
Really? There is this great bar. Let me tell you this story and go on a tangent. This isn't a poem, but...
Tange me, baby.
Okay. Back a couple of years ago, Anna and I went to this gallery opening at a gallery here called... It's right here on 7th. It must be a block away. And at the time, it was called...
Not Blue Shift.
No, it wasn't Blue Shift. It's where now the... placeholder did their event, that same building. It's on 30th and 7th Avenue.
Placeholder is some people we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, right now, a company named Primary 21, Primary, God, I don't remember anything. I'm horrible. Anyway, it's on Northwest 7th Avenue and 30th Street, right there on the corner. Okay. So we're in this gallery. Nice little space. I remember what we saw. It was kind of like crayon drawings, almost like a kid did them, but like trying to look like a kid did them. You know, I don't know if it was playing on the "my kid could do that" kind of theme, but
the Gin du Buffet.
But that. So we walk outside after we're done, and we look right in front of the place. And this is before they've recently torn up the street and made it all pretty and stuff, and now Rosas is there and all that stuff. But this is all before that. And so there's this little neon light. It says "open." And it's right next to a junkyard body shop type of thing. And we're like, well, what could that be? Is that a bar? Can we get a beer there? And we walk in. It's all dark. Strip, like this kind of LED lighting in a tube, that goes around a room, kind of like that stuff up there.
DJ lights, yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is the only stuff lighting the place. It's all purple. There's a jukebox that plays CDs, all bachata. The whole thing. Bachata is playing.
This sounds to me like Palapas.
Yeah, kind of. It's similar, but nighttime mode and more and darker and just...
Yeah, grittier. Yeah, no, but they all got
2 pool tables.
Yes.
Awesome. One guy in the corner just kind of passed out. Another guy dancing with some chick. And I think the beers were, at the time, $2 for Coronas.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we go in there. Awesome place. Okay.
It's a Honduran joint.
Ever since then, we just call it the Bachata Bar. We called it that or the Nica Bar. We weren't sure if they're Nicaraguan or what. Maybe it was Honduran. I'm not sure. They did have food on their menu, but we never ate it. Great place. One day it just shuts down. It turns into a pizza place that nobody goes to, and then that shut down too. But now, right in front of Las Rosas on 7th, so in front of it, right there on 7th, they open. I noticed another neon sign one day. Only from Thursday to Saturday it's on. And I go, well, what's in there? Let me go check this out. I go in. The same ladies that were working the bar at the other place are now working there. It's the same thing, bachata only. They have a knockoff Touch Tunes machine that plays, I don't know. I didn't want to change the music. Obviously, you're not going to change the music.
What is Touch Tunes?
Oh, Touch Tunes is one of the, if you've been in...
Jukebox digital?
Yeah, one of those digital jukeboxes that are now at almost every bar. They have a big TV and they're kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, this is a knockoff one.
Palapas has got one.
Yeah, exactly. Only plays bachata. Also has a pool table. Great little spot. Anyway, that's my bachata rant. Let's get back to the poetry. If you want to go to a good bachata bar, and if you like dive bars, the only real dives left in Miami, because there's dives, like Happy's is a good dive there in North Bay Village or whatever that place is called. I always get the name wrong of that town. The town in between on the 79th Street Causeway.
North Bay Village.
That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
That little town.
My little brother lives there.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a great bar there called Happy's. It's a dive. You can smoke in there. It's really small. It's got a pool table, whatever.
Nice.
But if you go the real dives in Miami, it's still a little bit. Nothing bad's gonna happen in that place. You go to the places like that only speak Spanish and are real ratty, and those are the construction worker bars. Those are the
Tikal on 36th Street. We used to eat there a lot. One of the panels of this show is frequent there. Also, Palapas, another Honduran joint. They got the disco ball and they got the DJ stand with the speaker. You know, at nighttime they turn it on. The Tikal on 36th Street used to be a bit dangerous, honestly, after about 8 o'clock at night. And going back about 15 years ago, one of our guys, Jan, that we used to work with, he works on a museum on the beach. He's a hell of a guy, Kansas boy. He used to be the only gringo who could hang out
in one of those places.
This is before Wynwood was Wynwood.
Yeah,
there was a bar that my partner, Pussy Beer, and he's a tough guy. And he went to hang out with Jan one time at this bar. He told me the next day, bro, I'd never been so scared to hang out. And he says it was a total Central American bar. He says, I walked in with this gringo. This gringo was saying, hey, we're going to go shoot some pool. Jan is a redhead Kansas gringo. He'd been hanging out for years at this Honduran bar on where the pawn shop is on 2nd Avenue by the gas station in just south of Wynwood.
Okay.
I think Sneak Attack is there now in that area. I'm familiar. I've been there that area a ton, but anyway, the history before Wynwood was really Wynwood, back when it was gritty, back when like the first galleries, and then we're going back probably 12, 15 years ago, when it was a lot grittier and it wasn't the scene that it is now. There was still some like Central American, and there was this bar, and it had a couple pool tables and beers out of the bottle and out of the can. And this Kansas boy that we used to work with, he used to go and hang out there. He didn't speak a lick of Spanish. And he'd go in there and shoot pool all night. And he was like a regular, whereas anyone else going there would probably get killed, or beat up. And Pussy Beer goes with him one night. And he says, man, I've never been so scared in my life. He says, I go in there, but they all know Jan, so I'm cool. and supposedly then the place got raided. And Jan hadn't been there for a while because he was doing some work. He comes back in right after it's been raided, but he was gone for a while. And they all looked at him like, hey.
Were you the guy?
You're the guy. And Jan is like, I don't give a shit. It's not me. I'm here to shoot pool. And and they accepted him back in. Anyway, though, the whole area turned into Tony Goldman.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that happens too. But these bars are still out there. If you go find them, they're bratty.
Totally.
And they gotta get there. Since the music is kind of hard to put up with.
If it's serving rice and beans and pupusas, you ever had a pupusa?
Yeah, during the day.
If it's got pupusa during the day, but you see it's got a disco ball and some lights, you know at night it's gonna get real, man.
Yeah,
and it's got to have a pool table for sure. And, and we notice it, and then all of a sudden it's got that electronic jukebox with a TV on it.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, that's just par for the course now for every little jank bar. All right, back to the poetry real quick. One last one. Ah, shit, I lost it. Hold on. No, I didn't. Okay. 33012.
330. That's not even down here.
33012. Hialeah's too much. I should know. I am too. All right.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Good. That's got to be Hialeah.
Oh, Miami Poetry Festival. Look it up online. There's the events are really cool to go to. I know it sounds weird to go to a poetry event, but they mix it up. They have like these dinners that are really cool, or a dinner that's really cool. They have readings. They have things where they do stuff with musicians. They're gonna do this thing where they give everybody a pair of sandals with a poem on them, and everybody walks the beach and leaves like poems in the sand. So if you want a free pair of sandals, go to that one. Might meet some people. I don't know. I really like what they're doing. I'm really pumped for them, so I just wanted to mention it.
Not a poetry guy, but I'm a Miami guy, and I want us to be more than we are.
All right.
And, yeah.
Can you bring your head in a little bit just so that, you can't really see you, but just so you're in a little bit. Right there. Perfect. You're just off to the side.
I'm trying to maintain my...
I know, no. You can maintain, you can turn it. It's just I just feel like if we say anything gold and I want to cut it into a clip later... I'm gonna be talking to nothing, I'm gonna be talking to nobody. You watch sports there, Artie? Or are you just?
I do.
Oh, perfect.
I'm not a huge sports guy.
Did you watch the game last night with Dwayne Wade and his last home game?
I thought it was tonight.
No, that was last night.
Yeah, no, I saw him with the gold jacket.
So Dwayne Wade,
he's leaving.
Yeah, he's not leaving. He's retiring.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's not going to make a comeback?
I don't think so. He's old, man.
No.
So he played his last...
Old? He's not old. He's no Tom Brady.
Oh, no. I'm bit for basketball. Tom Brady just has to sit there, kind of, take 3 steps backward and look around. This guy has to actually run up and down the court the whole time. So yesterday was the last regular season home game that he's going to play. It's very unlikely that he gets to the playoffs. So they gave him a nice send-off yesterday, and it was really nice. And he said, thank you, Miami, and whatever. And it's just a nice milestone. It's a shame that nobody here cares too much about sports. But I do appreciate Dwayne Wade being such a class act around town. He's not a...
I got a lot of... I'm not a huge sports fan. But, yeah, I think he was a class act. You know who else?
A good representative.
Even LeBron James,
was a class act.
LeBron James, in my opinion, is a hell of a guy. And I'm not a huge sports fan. I'm not one of these sports nerds that wants to discuss,
They get annoyed that the people aren't loyal to this business.
But this isn't that kind of town.
That too.
We're a bandwagon town.
No, not just the fans aren't loyal. I'm saying sports fans get frustrated when players leave to better opportunities. Or to try better opportunities, or to think that they might have one.
Yeah, but Miami's a bandwagon town. We only liked didn't we have a...
There's a lot of diehard Heat fans.
Didn't we have a hockey team here one time that was throwing rats?
Yeah, the fans.
Only when they were winning?
Yeah.
I forget the name, but I think we had a team here. And then I thought we had a baseball team that was originally the Miami, and then it's the Florida, and their fan base is in Broward, and give me a break. I remember way back when, and I'm a radio nerd, there was a huge debate about LeBron and will he stay, will he leave? And you know what was going on at that time was that Deepwater Horizon oil leak in the Gulf that was threatening South Florida's tourism, ecology. There was a huge oil. You remember the oil spill?
Yeah. So where are you going with this?
I don't know, but I remember that all WLRN could talk about, and Phil Latzman, who used to be on WLRN, could talk about they had
LeBron?
a show one time, and it was the Florida Roundup, and all they could talk about was the LeBron. So
Well, they're interested in LeBron. I mean, he's a big thing, and people want to hear about it.
I called in and I made him wiser, and I told him that we have bigger things to think about. But again, I want Miami to be a big town. Not too big that we've got huge big city problems, but I want us to be more recognized because we really are a metropolitan city.
All right, I don't know what the hell that has to do with Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade has
A world-class team.
played his last game with the Miami Heat.
Aren't we sucking?
Probably.
Aren't we
his last
sucking?
home game.
Aren't we sucking right now as the Miami Heat?
Well, teams go up and down. It happens. The place was packed yesterday.
Well,
Even though there's
for his last game.
All right, moving on. It's Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. We're here on Jolt Radio. This is Nothing's Going On in Miami, episode 7. Go to nothingsgoingon.com/subscribe and get the podcast. Much better way to listen than live. Actually, I mean, it depends. But you can catch it on your own time, just like on Netflix. Okay. Let's go right to openings and closings. I got a pretty big one here, even though it's only big. I wish Anna was here because I mentioned it to her 100 times, but I never made it to this place. A dive bar, which I heard.
The Pickle?
No, the Pickle closes, and I went to the Pickle
Never been
on Ultra Saturday, actually. Had a great time. DJ Harvey, a friend of mine, told me, I'm not really follow the scene or anything, but he said, go to the Pickle on that day. This guy played an 8-hour DJ set.
That was some
strong
stuff.
And this guy is 50-something. Now, he's totally clean. He kind of looks like Lemmy from Motorhead to me, but a little more clean, and like he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Super cool. I was at the Pickle. But no, the Pickle's not closing just yet. The Travelers Lounge. This is on north of the airport. At the Days Inn, there was a dive bar there called the Travelers Lounge. I never made it. I was told it was really good. Well, now it closed its doors, and they're putting a Subway there. If you were a fan of that place, well, you should have gone a little more often because now it's closed.
Well, there's the Bowl Bar still there.
Well, Bowl Bar is Bowl Bar. That's a different story. I said north of the airport.
Oh, you said north of the airport.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
on 36.
I'm trying to think north of the airport. Oh, on 36th Street.
Yeah.
On 36th Street.
Yeah.
That's where all the
Days Inn.
pilots hang out.
Yes, exactly. Where they used to.
On the south end, there is the old Airport Executive Hotel that's got a bar there.
There's a bar at the Executive Hotel?
Oh, man, you never heard about that.
I mean, I can imagine what goes down at that bar.
I was told as a young boy that's where, and this is before Cougars were Cougars.
Okay.
That's where a young man could go to get some education and experience from experienced women. I never went, but I had it on very good authority, and I heard a lot of stories. But Airport Executive Hotel has a bar there. For any of you young men out there who need some education.
We're 7 shows deep, and I don't think there's been one show where we haven't mentioned
No, don't
prostitution.
go there. Oh, I thought you were going to go nudie bars because I got a lot of flack about nudie bars.
So
No, it's not prostitution. It's where older women. It was a known place where older women would go to court.
Oh, it was a cougar bar. Gotcha.
Cougar bar.
Gotcha.
No, nothing to do with prostitution.
Well, then I just mentioned it anyway. So
Well, there you go.
Okay, so that closed. The Travelers Lounge has closed, and a Subway is going to open there.
Did you guys ever talk about Fox's?
Yeah, but Fox's closed a long time ago. So
They're going to try and reopen another bar there called Fox's. Can you believe it?
but it'll be a South. Now it's South Miami's like trendy, and it'll be something else.
They're going to try and recapture the glory.
Nah, you can't. That doesn't work. You want to go to a dive? Go to Go to.
Where? The Deuce.
The Deuce, the Happy Stork.
Happy Stork, never heard of it.
It's the one in Bay Harbor.
I thought you said it was called Happy.
It's called Happy's. Happy's, the Happy Stork.
Yes,
whatever.
yes. I've driven
Happy
past
Stork. It has an
It's where
apostrophe on the
Shuckers
S.
is. It's
exactly
it's
right in
where
front of
Shuckers
it.
Is, yeah.
That was good. Free Spirits on the beach is also good.
Free Spirits, yes.
Yeah, Free Spirits. And there's one called On the Rocks, I think. I haven't been there, though. And then there's a place called The Club, which is, but that's so far from me. It's on 144th and Northwest 7th.
Way out of my range.
It's up there. But these guys go here on Jolt. They do this vinyl, what do they call it? Vinyl record. Vinyl. They have this event on Fridays where people take their own records and they get 15 minutes to spin or whatever, and everybody gets to spin like a little mix. It's kind of like a karaoke for vinyl. And the drinks are really cheap, and it seems like a cool place. You can't smoke inside, though, so it can't be that divey.
Didn't we have a show about that one time?
Probably. Anyway, that close.
There's still good dives way down south. It's way out of you, Key Rat's realm.
So there's I haven't been out there. Tell me the ones, because I know the names.
Well, there's Saga Bay Lounge, which is now Rod Bender's, and then there's the Hole in the Wall, there's a few of them way down south. What was the other one?
I got to get out there.
Yeah, no.
Maybe one day you tell me, hey, we're probably going to end up here tonight.
You end up there,
and I'll show up.
You're stuck. And then there's the Rod Benders and the Shipwreck used to be one.
I go as far as like Seven Seas. Yeah.
Seven Seas, is that on Red Road?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I know that one.
Good karaoke there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got the old car out front.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know it.
That's a great bar. Wait, I'm not on calendar yet. There's another. Should I even mention this? I will. Some place called Chotu. You like Indian food? Well, this guy was the first Indian chef to get a Michelin star in the U.S. First Indian chef in the U.S. to get a Michelin star. So that's a lot of honing it down to try and give this guy some props, but it's what it is. And he's got a restaurant in Midtown called Maska Indian restaurant. And now he's opening an Indian street food restaurant right next door called Chotu. Obviously, Indian street food in India, you would not eat it. But here, it might be good. So check that out.
What's the difference between an Indian restaurant and Indian street food?
It's more casual and cheaper.
Huh.
Yeah. It's like little bites and like, I don't know, the kind of stuff you would get off the cart in India on the street, the hot dog vendor, but in a shop.
Do you have to eat
Miami?
Do you have to eat with your fingers?
I don't know. I don't know if it's mandatory.
No, I don't mean that in a mean way. My mom worked in India for a while, and she said silverware out in the rural areas was sparse. It's non-existent. Everybody, there's a big plate, and there's a communal plate, and they pass it around, and you throw on your plate, and everybody eats with their fingers.
If it's the right food, it could work.
You know.
All right, moving on to the calendar. I'll tell you a couple things that I have written down here. It's not very much. So as I mentioned before, O Miami Poetry Festival is happening all month. Go to omiami.org/events and check them out. There's always something fun. They're usually free, and they start early, so it's a good way to, go have a drink early and then go off and do whatever you want to do. Today's Wednesday. So on Friday, April 12th at Gramps, you got a good metal show. Headlining is a band called I Hate God. Then The Obsessed, Day by Day.
I Hate God.
Miami's
Well, at least they're not subtle.
own Crud and Asylum at Gramps. Go check that out if you want a metal show. You know what's never happens to me that is nice for these metalheads that are going to go to this show is that it's very rare that you get a good show with a band from out of town and it lands on a Friday. Because the band comes from out of town and it might be like a Tuesday or something and you're like, shit, I can't go on a fucking Tuesday. I got to work tomorrow, or whatever.
Right.
So to have a stacked lineup on a Friday, these guys are getting a good thing here. Though Gramps is an interesting place to have it, especially on a Friday. But anyway, if you like those bands, if you like metal, go check that out. You never been there?
No, and I know that they had some...
It's casual, it's nice.
They had some sort of relationship with the old Jimbos. Am I wrong?
So that's actually right here. I'll tell you about it in a second.
Jimbo's birthday is there?
So, yeah. and it's this Sunday.
Am I reading your mind here? You should close that thing.
So on Saturday, this Saturday, April 13th, it's Record Store Day. And Sweat Records is having a thing, and I'm sure Technique Records is having a thing too, so check those out. Sweat's having a bunch of shows from about noon to 6 p.m., and they'll have all the cool
Sweat,
limited...
a Miami label?
They are now a record label, and they are a record store. It's right next to...
And they're Miami-based?
Yeah, they're attached
Love
to
you
Churchill's.
guys. Never heard of you, but I love you.
Yeah, they're attached to Churchill's.
Actually, I heard of you.
And actually, they're moving soon, which is...
To L.A.?
No, thank God. Somewhere else in Little Haiti.
Excellent.
But anyway, Record Store Day, Saturday, April 13th, this Saturday. Go check that out. Bunch of bands playing at Churchill's for this thing. That should be cool. And then Sunday, like you just said, back at Gramps, you got Jimbo's birthday, but Jimbo's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you guys that don't know, maybe you didn't get here in time for what Jimbo's was. Jimbo's was
our old meeting place.
Really?
The old...
It's a great little spot.
The old art service was meeting there all the time.
In Virginia Key, you would go into one of the parks. I guess you could call it. Yeah, it was the park. You would go to the gate of the park.
Arthur Lamb Road.
Yeah, down Arthur Lamb Road. And at the gate, you would tell them, they wanted to charge you. But if you said you're going to Jimbo's, you didn't have to pay. So you say, I'm going to Jimbo's. And you drive all the way down. And there's this little hut, a little shack next to...
several shacks right next to the water.
Right next to the water.
Shrimp boats.
Yeah, exactly.
In the water. All sorts of... It's where...
So, that's real quick, I don't want to get into Jimbo's because a lot of people know exactly what Jimbo's is. Jimbo is a guy who had a place where the Miami Herald building is for a long time. He had a little shrimp and bait place. And then when the Miami Herald came, they kicked him out, but they told him, "Oh, you can just go to Virginia Key over there, and you'll be fine." And then he basically had these kind of inherited squatting rights that he had to be inside a park in Virginia Key on land he didn't even own.
May I elaborate?
Until he died. Yeah,
he was friends with Mayor Clark at the time.
Oh, that's why he got the hookup
from the old school. And Clark said, "Hey, listen, we're going to build this thing here, and we need your shrimpers who stink out of here." And we'll give you a spot over by the sewer, and we'll never bother you again. And you can have that area, and you can do whatever the hell you want over there. And he said, okay. And so he moved all his operation over there by the sewer treatment plant, which I think processes a lot of Key Biscayne's sewage.
Probably, and Briggles, I'm sure.
And they moved their operation there, and they were never to be disturbed again. And they set up a thing where they sold beer, they sold smoked sailfish, they had music, they had parties. It was kind of like the last of the old Florida, the old Miami scene. But it really...
Cheap beer, good times.
It grew out of control, and it became wild,
Yeah, so that happened. Jimbo would always have his birthday party there, and they would have...
They would drive a truck up of beer. And I met somebody who said she was the one who was in charge of organizing the beer truck. And they would get a beer truck, which I don't mean a truck full of cans, but I mean a gasoline tanker full of beer, and they would rig like 20 taps on the side. And it was Jimbo's present to the people who showed up, and you could just come with a cup, and you didn't even have to pay, and it was his birthday, and you'd go up, and there was like 20 taps, like teats on the side of a pig. And
Beautiful.
You would just go and nurse all day.
So by the end of it, at some point, his kids and the city wanted him out, and his kids were upset with how things were going. And then even before he died, they closed it down. Basically, they got him out of there. They closed it down.
His kids were wild drug addicts, and they were old, and they burnt the place down.
Basically,
yes.
And then, so after that, somebody took it upon themselves to go to Gramps, which is a cool bar, cool people, and tell them, "Hey, look, can we do the birthday party here?" And for a while, Jimbo was going to his birthday party at Gramps.
Yes.
Then Jimbo passed away, and now they do. The friends of Jimbo still do a birthday party for him every year. And it's this Sunday, so you should go check that out, April 14th. Jimbo's birthday party at Gramps. I'm sure
exercise in
the
memory
Kooks
of
come out.
old,
Maybe Jamaican Paul will be there and everything.
I know Jamaican Paul for a billion years, man. Back when I used to burn, I burned with Jamaican Paul a bunch of times.
You can see him now wandering the Grove every once in a while. I've seen him at the Cuda.
He's originally from the Grove. Yeah.
I've seen him at the Cuda.
Yeah.
Still looking the same with his little beret. And
old Jamaican Paul, man.
Cool guy. All right, and next week, got Ettore Sotsas and Eric Paul Rige at the ICA opening. The pictures look cool. It's Thursday on the 18th. On Friday, April 19th, Dracula, this band from Miami who I saw the other day. Little folk band. There's two people. They sing and they play guitar, and it's really nice. They get a record release party from Sweat Records. So they're going to have a little party there at Sweat. Also,
Dracula, didn't they have a thing on NPR about
probably, yeah, they did get on it. Yeah, they got on a list with NPR of like top tracks of whatever.
Yes, and they were interviewed and they asked them about the name Dracula, and it's a guy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Are they are they Spanish? Like Spaniards?
No, no, definitely not. I'm not sure where they're from, but
no, but I heard them. I listened to the interview. For some reason, I want to say they had some association with Spain, but I guess not. But yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they'll be playing at Sweat Records, which I told you for Record Store Day, but the following Friday. I'll tell you a little event that you might be interested in. I don't think anybody else will.
No way.
On Friday, April 19th, me and my buddies are throwing, I think it's the 5th annual cornhole tournament. 32 teams.
I'm there.
On the beach, at the beach club, Key Biscayne Beach Club. And there's beer and there's a bunch of food. And you just got to get cornhole. And really good cornhole players.
I've built my own boards. I'm good on Key Biscayne.
Yeah.
I bet you Court Vernon's going to be there.
Of course he's going to be there.
You know him?
Yes, of course I know him.
I know
these
Court.
guys. All these guys play in this tournament. They love this tournament.
And his son?
Yeah.
I challenged Court Vernon at his home court, and I lost. And I told him that it was my life's goal to beat him. And he said, Artie, you will never beat me.
It's not a very Miami thing to play cornhole, but it kind of is because I meet a lot of people who do like to play. So if you're into that,
it's an excellent drinking
look
game.
up the Calusa Club Cornhole Classic.
I'll tear court up.
And that's also on April 19th. On Saturday, April 20th, Jolt is doing something interesting at the 777 Mall. I haven't had a chance to figure out what it is, but that's on Saturday, April 20th. I think it's going to be like a little mini, I don't want to call it a rave, but I will. Like a little rave inside a storefront. So if you're into that kind of thing and they play cool music, chill music, I don't know.
We've talked
Joel's
about
doing
the
something.
777 thing again many times.
At that mall?
Where the hell is that?
It's on Flagler Street in downtown.
Never seen it.
No?
No.
There's it on First. Well, it's right there. It's an old strip mall, and now it's an art space.
Excellent.
It's a bunch of all the retail spots are given to a bunch of Miami projects. Actually, Miami has their office there. Jolt has a little studio there, about a little bigger than this, or about the same size as this, but more cleared out, and you could dance in there.
If they've got a little studio there and it's bigger than this, what is this studio?
No, it's about the same size. And it has a nice big window that you can see out to the outside. Anyway, that's on 420. 420, blaze it, loot. And then on April 21st, the West Kendall Zine Fest is at Millie's Empanada Factory. The Miami Zine Fair was this past weekend. The West Kendall Zine Fest is at Millie's Empanada Factory on April 21st. I want to thank the panel for being here.
Wait, we're finished already?
Oh, yeah, we're wrapping this up. I got to go work on something, actually, which sucks because I wanted to go party with these guys, but it's not going to happen. I want to thank the panel, the panel of one, for being here and holding it down on this episode of the show. I want to thank Jolt Radio for hosting us. I want you to go to nothingsgoingon.com and subscribe so that you can catch this thing anytime, even if you didn't tune in right away. And, follow us on the social medias and stuff like that. Nothing's going on in Miami. You have anything to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I do.
Get back in the shot. Get back in the frame.
Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm here.
What is it? What do you want to say? Last words. You blew it.
I don't know.
Good thing we're wrapping up. Okay, again.
Yeah, I ran out, Miami. I ran out.
Check out the shows. Good shows tomorrow on this station, and keep on keeping on, I suppose.
Well, and we're now moving to twice a month. Is that right?
We are already twice a month.
To our fan.
Yeah.
We're moving to twice a month.
Yeah. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with a couple more things to talk about and a couple more people to talk about them with. See ya.
Good night, Miami.